Hey guys, Tyler Cook here. Got a quick question for you. Why aren't your emails being opened? Here's a truth bomb for you. It's usually because your subject line kinda sucks. Generally, when someone opens their inbox, they're going to be scanning from left to right. So the first thing they're going to be looking at is who is the email from. So make sure you're sending from a consistent person. You want them to recognize, know, and like and trust the person you're sending from. Then once they've looked at who the email is from, then the next thing they're going to look at is the subject line. Now here's where they're going to make the big decision to open or not to open. If your subject line is great and they like the person, they like you or they like the person you're sending from, they're statistically more likely to open the email. But if your subject line misses the mark, they won't open. So our focus today is on how to write better subject lines. So here are 5 things you can do today to write better subject lines. Number 1, personalize your subject line. And what I don't mean here is to simply merge the contact's first name into your subject line so it reads something like, Joe, here's an email for you. Personalization is so much more than that. When you're sending an email, you really need to know and understand who is on the receiving side of that email. And then write a subject line that will be engaging and interesting to that person. When you can do that, once Joe gets your email, they'll feel like you wrote it specifically for them. And when you can do that, they're more likely to open your email. Really think about and know who your audience is. Not only will you write better subject lines, but you'll write better emails. However, it all starts with your subject line. They have to open your email first before they can take the next action. So really know and understand who you're writing to so you can personalize your subject line. Tip number 2, ask questions. So here, make your subject line a question. And I particularly like this one because questions tend to catch people's attention. It makes them stop and think. For example, if I ask you, what's your favorite color? Did you think about it? Did you answer it? You probably did. It's next to impossible not to answer a question. The same principle applies to your subject lines. When you ask an engaging question, the recipient will pause and answer the question before moving on. And when that happens, you've just increased your chances of them opening up your email. So pro tip here, make sure your question is aligned with the email content. Don't ask a question just to ask a question. Your subject line is kind of like a promise, so make sure you deliver on that promise when they open up the email. But a question is a great way to catch someone's attention before they move on. Pro tip, or I guess tip number 3 is use numbers. I think everyone knows at this point when it comes to someone's inbox, you're competing with hundreds, if not thousands of other emails. And one of the best ways that we've found to get your subject line to stand out in an overly crowded inbox is to use a number. Something like 10 ways to accomplish X, Y, and Z, or 5 tips to do ABC. The point is the number will stand out in the overly crowded inbox, so their attention gets centered on your email. And when you can catch someone's attention, they're more likely to click and open your email. Number 4, keep it short and sweet. Keep it short and sweet. Think of your subject line as a power statement or power question. Your subject line should be short and powerful. Did you know 47% of people decide to open your email based off of your subject line alone? Make it short yet moving. You want them to open the email, and if your subject line is boring, they'll simply move on. You want your subject line to invoke some sort of emotion that drives them to open your email. So when crafting your subject line, subject line, write down 10 different variations. This will force you to look at your email from different perspectives and come up with new, exciting, and unique ways to get your point across. I know that 10 is a lot, and it's hard at first, but it does get easier. Write down 10 variations and then you can pick the best parts of all 10 to create better subject lines. And last, but definitely not least, test, and test more. Test your subject lines as often as you can. Don't assume you know what your audience really likes. By testing different subject lines, you can get cold hard data to back you up. The world is always changing, so what your audience responds to really well one week may not work the next week. So test, and like I said before, test some more. One of the added benefits to split testing is that you can try new things, take bigger risks, and if it's a complete and utter fail, most of your list won't ever know. There's so many benefits to split testing and take an hour to even just scratch the surface. So the point here is you need data to make the best decisions. Split testing is a great way to get a whole lot of data so you can make better choices. Split test your subject lines so you know exactly what your audience and your list really responds to. As you can see from the 5 tips, writing great subject lines is as much of an art as it is a science. Remember to keep it personal, mix in a few questions and numbers, keep it short, sweet, and powerful, and then test, and test some more. Reach out to us here at Success Engine and we can help you with your email marketing efforts, whether it's simply writing better subject lines or helping you build out entire email marketing funnels. As always, have fun with your marketing.